Hi, good afternoon, good evening. I apologize. There were some technical difficulties, but I figured it out. Good afternoon and welcome to our Springboard Facebook Live virtual family workshop. I'm a little tripped up now. I'm going to take a deep breath and everything is going to be okay. Sometimes with technology, things don't work the way that you think they should. And so I'm just going to get myself grounded. I'm so excited to be here. I'm excited to see all of you here today with me. Today, I'm going to be sharing a special strategy with you called Let's Motivate and Celebrate. I love this reading tip because we need to celebrate and motivate our kids more regularly. Our students are working so hard. I don't know if your young scholar is in hybrid or in complete 100% virtual learning, but our children are working so hard and they deserve to be celebrated. And today we're going to talk about how to motivate them and keep them going, and also how to celebrate their hard work. So I just again want to thank you for coming out this evening and bearing with me and my technical issues. But I'm coming to you from San Francisco, California, where today we're in the middle of a heat wave. It's like the weather just is in ebbs and flows. So today it's like about 90 degrees and I have on this black shirt. I don't know what I was thinking. But anyhow, I'm enjoying this lovely weather. And I would love to know where you're tuning in from. So if you could drop in the chat where you're tuning in from, the city that you're joining us from, as well as the age or grade of a young scholar you support. So I'll model that. Again, my name is Latrice, and I have a young scholar who happens to be 16 years old. He is in his junior year of high school, and I support him with literacy. And I even use a lot of these great Springboard tips and strategies with him. So again, in the chat, where are you tuning in from? And the age of a young scholar that you support would be so great. I always like to make sure I cater these workshops to who's actually, I would say, in the room, but in the virtual room with me. So as you're dropping that in the chat, let me tell you a little bit about Springboard. Springboard is a literacy nonprofit organization that helps educators and family members become reading coaches. One way we do that is through our family workshops. In our workshops, teachers, families, and kids focus on a reading tip and practice reading together. We are so excited that you joined us today. Again, my name is Latrice Simmons, and I'm a Springboard Family Workshop Facilitator. In San Francisco, in my day job, I like to call it, I am an educator who serves students in San Francisco. I also work a lot with administrators and teachers. We work a lot around closing the achievement gap, or opportunity gap. So it's so great to be able to partner with Springboard because we're doing the same work, which is trying to equip families and students with reading tips that can help them exceed. So I'm looking in the chat and I see that Philly is in the house. Hello there, Philly. We've got a 5-year-old, and DC, wow, it must be really hot there too. That we have a 9-year-old. Thank you so much. Oh, wow, Idaho, 9-year-old. Well, I think that this workshop is going to be perfect for your 9-year-old and your 5-year-old. So thanks again for joining. So a part of today's reading tip is centered around the celebrate. And as I mentioned, sometimes when we're in the grind of virtual learning or supporting our student at home, we forget to celebrate and remind our young people, like, wow, you worked so hard. You did a great job with whatever particular strategy they're using. So just in your life, before we get into today's tip, can you share and drop in the chat some ways that you celebrate your child? And if you are able, you can drop in the chat the kinds of things you do to celebrate your child. And let me give you an example. So again, I have a 16-year-old, and real talk, real life. And one thing that I I motivate him to do is to take out the garbage without me telling him. And when he does that, I praise him and say, "Oh my gosh, you took the garbage out. This is great." And I didn't have to say anything. And I also will give him a little reward for doing that. And usually the reward is the dessert or a sweet of his choice, because that's what he tends to like. What are some ways that you celebrate your young person, the young person in your life? What are some things that you already do to keep them motivated? I would love to hear those ideas, and we can learn and exchange those ideas together. So again, in the chat, if you could drop some ways that you celebrate your young person now, and it doesn't just have to be around literacy, some ways that you celebrate your young person and why you celebrate your young person for doing that particular thing. So again, today I hope to inspire you with a reading strategy that you can use with your child. I'm going to give you some tools that will help you be the best at-home reading coach that you can be. I'm looking in the chat, and it looks like people are making some connections with my son taking out the garbage or doing his chores. Yeah, and I also see a lot of people are making connections with using food as a way to celebrate and show appreciation to your child. So let's keep those ideas growing, because as a community, we are going to talk in a moment about ways that we can celebrate our student, our young person, and these ideas would be very helpful for you to think about in celebrating your student for their hard work. So again, today's workshop title is called Let's Motivate and Celebrate. This workshop helps students to engage and enjoy. We want our readers to want to read, and some of our readers are a little reluctant to it. I admit, even though I am an educator, my son didn't always like reading, and so I had to work really hard to keep him motivated and keep him engaged in the text that was in front of him. I wish that this workshop was available to me during those years, and I hope that you find this information helpful. We're going to talk about the importance of finding a good spot to read in, a good spot with some good lighting that's comfortable and cozy. We're going to talk about setting a goal. How many minutes should my young person be reading? What is a reasonable expectation around that? We're also going to think about how to track our students' progress. What can we do to monitor? Okay, on Monday you read 10 minutes, on Tuesday you read 15 minutes. We're going to talk about some ways that you can capture what I like to call this as data, but we can capture your students' reading success. And then finally, the best tip is that we are going to celebrate their accomplishments. Again, I can't say this enough. Our young people need to hear those positive words and get that positive reinforcement from our adults to let us know, hey, this is a behavior that I want to keep doing. I want to keep on reading. So again, those 4 steps are finding a good spot, choosing a goal, and this goal today, we're going to talk about choosing a stamina goal, tracking progress in a way that's easy to see, easy for you to see, and easy for the young scholar to see. And then finally, celebrate. So finding a good reading spot. It always makes me think about Goldilocks and the Three Bears. You want the reading spot to be comfortable, but not too comfortable, because we don't want our scholar to fall asleep. And we want to make sure that they're in a place where they're not going to be distracted. I really feel that a lot of you on this call today could really speak to what that experience is like with virtual learning, that oftentimes we have to find a spot in our home where it's not as many distractions, where it's as quiet as we can make it be, because I'm working, my son is in his classrooms, I can't be 100% quiet, and neither can he, but how can we work together in the same space? It makes me think about this tip as well. Some scholars, some young people love to hear music, like soft playing music or white noise in the background, while other readers, it drives them bananas that they cannot really focus in on their book when they hear all this background noise. So think about what kind of scholar, what kind of reader your young person is, and what kind of environment is best for them during reading. Um, I have my little pillow here, and I love this pillow because it's so pretty and sparkly. I love sparkly things. But it makes me think about, what can I do to make this comfortable spot even more special? And if that means making a fort, if that means throwing out some pillows like my pillow, whatever it takes to get that student motivated, that young person motivated, like, ooh, I get to be in my special fort for reading time, that they'll be more excited and more inclined to do some independent reading. I can't emphasize good lighting enough. As you see, I wear glasses. I was that poster child for move away from the TV. You're too close to the TV. But our kids are having a lot of screen time right now, and being mindful of their little eyes. Their eye muscles are working so hard. Let's make sure that they can see their book, that they're not in a spot that's too dark or a spot that's too bright, and that it's comfortable. And the last thing I'll say about this particular step, which is finding a good reading spot, is that it doesn't always have to be in the house. With the pandemic and the COVID that's going on right now, more and more things are opening. Here in San Francisco, parks are starting to open. I just remember as a child, I loved laying out the blanket and having my book. My auntie would have her magazine or her book, and I would lay out in the sun and read my book while she would read hers. And I think about these opportunities where we can be reading with our child in different locations. So again, the first step was to find a good spot, make it comfortable, free from distractions. And then of course, you can ask your scholar, what kind of environment is best for you? Do you like a little music? Do you want it to be absolutely quiet? And then letting other siblings know, like if you have multiple children, you might need to say, hey, it's reading time, and just kind of quiet everything down while everyone reads. So that was the first tip. And I see the chat is blowing up with comments about finding a good spot. We have some families joining us talking about how they like to read on their deck. If I had a deck, I would love that. But yes, being out in the sunshine, getting some fresh air. Yeah. So these are all great, great ideas. So the second step is choosing a good goal. So again, I always use the analogy of inviting your scholar, your child to the party. Let them be a part of setting up a goal. And today I'm going to show you some different things you can think of to support your reader with independent reading. So the goal that I'm going to share with you today, and there could be many goals. It could be word attack strategies. It could be reading a certain amount of books. But today I'm going to model and show you how to set up a stamina goal. And stamina isn't just lifting weights, but it's also, as it pertains to literacy and reading, how long you read. And typically we want our children reading for about 15 minutes to about 30 minutes every day to keep their stamina up and to keep those muscles strong. But wait a minute, my scholar may be in kindergarten or first grade. They may not yet have the stamina to stick to reading for so long. So we're going to create small goals and track those goals as we go. We're going to set it up so that our scholar, our young person, can meet that goal. If you have a resistant reader who maybe says stuff like my son used to say, like, oh, why do I have to read? Do I have to read again? Then we're going to start off with a goal, and he can even set it up. How many minutes do you think you can read today? And then we're going to track, which is the third step. We're going to track how you do with that. We're going to keep a close eye on that goal. So again, with choosing a goal, it could be about the amount of books you read. It could be about the frequency in which you read. I'm going to read every day. I'm going to read 10 books by the end of the week, or whatever goal that you and your young person come up with together. Once you've established the goal, I have my little folder here. Once you've established a goal, you can create a way to track the goal. And what that means is how you will monitor your child's progress. So as I mentioned to you before, My son, Jaden, struggled with home reading. It was really, really hard for us. And so I made a similar, like I said, he's 16 now, so I wouldn't put him on this particular tracker. But each day I would just monitor and record. And you can do this with your child. As you see, I did this with crayons, that they can just monitor and track. Okay, honey, you read for, let's see, you read for 12 minutes today. Yay, that's awesome. Let's color in the 12 minutes that we read. What's your goal for tomorrow, right? And so you would just track those. Mine is for 7 days. So Monday, Tuesday, all the way through Sunday. It could be a 5-day tracker where you're just monitoring Monday through Friday and taking the weekends off because everybody needs some time off. So again, with this particular example, the left side is just having how many minutes read, and then the bottom are the dates. Have you created any kinds of trackers like this? Do you remember those potty trackers when we were trying to potty train our children? And the incentives and things that go along and the celebration that go along with that? It kind of makes me think about that a little bit. So this is one example of one way to track. And again, today I'm just modeling the stamina goal, but you can create other goals too. So here's one example. Oh, and before I move on to my next example, I forgot the most important thing. Have your child decide and set up a goal. What is your goal? You know, for my son, when he was a little boy, when he was about in 2nd grade, our goal was 20 minutes because that was the homework assignment. So I would put a sticker, and I have little star stickers here. I could put a sticker by that 20-minute mark. I just took a Post-it and I cut it up like a tag, and I could put the sticker where it says 20 minutes. And then each day we're reminded of what our investment is, our goal, what we're trying to do, what we're aspiring to do is to read for 20 minutes. So here's one example. Another example that I have, and if I had more time, I would have pulled out my crayons and really did this one up. But I was thinking about kind of like football themed or sports themed. A lot of our young people like sports. So setting it up for children to measure the minutes, not in a bar graph, but with these little circles. They can color it in, and these are in increments or skip counting by 10. So if you read for 10 minutes, your scholar can color in the 10 minutes and keep track as each day goes. So here's another example of what a tracker could look like. Not feeling crafty? Well, the internet has a million ways to track students' progress. So I just printed some of these out as well. So this is another stamina tracker that looks similar to the first one that I showed you. And then what you would really do is, again, set what the goal is. I want my scholar to be reading for 5, 10, whatever you decide minutes each day, and then you just track it each day. The last thing I'll say about that, let me pull this one up again. Notice that it wasn't a steady incline. It wasn't like the first day we read 10 minutes, the next day we read 12, the next day we read 14, and each day we did more. That, look, something happened on that Tuesday. And that's okay. And that's a great opportunity to have a conversation with your scholar. There are many reasons why this could be. This could be a particular day, like my son loves basketball. He's on a bunch of basketball teams. And when he was a young person, when he was younger, there were days where homework was hard for us. We were tired. So we maybe didn't read our full 20 minutes like we had set out for. And that's okay. There are going to be days like that. A day maybe they didn't feel so well, or a day where you had a lot of errands to run as parent and just couldn't squeeze it all in. The most important thing I can tell you as we wrap up this particular part of this strategy is that it's all right. That these are all learning, moments, and then that these are things we can discuss with our child, like, hey, we only read, for 8 minutes today. What can we do so we can read for more minutes tomorrow? Tomorrow is another day, and tomorrow is another day where we can strive to meet our goals. So it's not like a punishment or that we would chastise. It would be an opportunity to have a conversation and really ask those inquiry questions, those why questions. Why did we only read for 8 minutes? What could we do differently? Oh, so maybe I shouldn't run my errands during your reading time, or whatever it is, that conversation that you have with your child to make it work, right? So, tracking progress, setting up a goal, and then again, having your child participate by decorating with stickers. My son was really into Pokemon, so he would put Pikachu all over our graphs. So these are just some ways that you can track your scholar's progress. And like I told you, the last part, and we already have tons of feedback in the chat, is to celebrate. It's been a long week. Your scholar has read every day for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. It's time to celebrate. And I know you might be scratching your head saying, yes, I'd love to celebrate, but I'm broke. So there's lots of ways we can celebrate our young people without spending money. As they get older, like I said, my son is 16, so I kind of have to buy him things. That's the only way that he's going to keep doing what I want him to do. But you can continue to celebrate and keep your child encouraged by not spending money on incentives. So I have this little chart for us. So the first thing is praise. You know, if I complained every time my son didn't take out the garbage, he'd probably continue not to do it. But if I praise him for it, he'll be inclined to want to do it more. So praise, and I drew little hearts because it's the best one and it's free. Praise your child. Another way is a later bedtime. So you can negotiate what this reward or celebration will be when you are making your tracker with your child. So say, hey, Mom, I think I can read 20 minutes. All right. And what do you want to get once you hit that 20-minute mark? I want to get ice cream. I want to have an ice cream sundae party. Awesome. Let's do it. And then that's what we're working towards, right? A special activity, extra electronic time. Oh my gosh, our kids need less screen time, but you know, that's what the kids love. They love the Roblox. They love the video games. Let's have it be something that they work towards and something that they earn. Extra, make special craft or meal. And then again, you want to brainstorm these activities together prior to setting up your goal and making your tracker. In the chat, someone said dance party. Yes, if your child likes to dance, then let's dance and celebrate, right? So that was our strategy for today. We talked about how to motivate and celebrate our scholars, our young people. They work so hard and they deserve our praise, right? And the way that we do that is we make sure that they are in a good place that's comfortable and cozy for them to read in. We make sure that we set a goal. And today I shared a stamina goal with you, but you can set any other kind of goal that's tied to literacy that you'd like. Ooh, movie night. Yes, that sounds exciting. I love watching movies with my son. Another thing that you do is that you're going to track your scholar's progress each day and each time that they're doing the reading. If it's tied to stamina, each night that they're reading, we're going to fill in that chart together and put stickers on it because you've done such a great job. And then the fourth thing is we're going to celebrate with our dance party and our movie night and with tons and tons of praise. So again, I hope that you enjoyed today's strategy. There's going to be another Facebook Live next week, Thursday. But today, this same strategy is going to be provided to you in Espanol, in Spanish tonight. My good friend Ruby will be facilitating that shortly after this. So if you know a Spanish-speaking family that you think would benefit from this Let's Celebrate and Motivate, please invite them to come back. And so come back next Thursday, and we'll be talking about another strategy again, and it's 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. I had so much fun with you today. I hope that you learned something that you can take back and try with your scholar. If you want to scroll through the chat to look for other ways that you can celebrate your child, please do so. And again, thank you. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful, safe, and restful evening. Take care. See you next week. Bye.